This is the Global News Rodeo with Ron Chowdhury and Forrest Lovette.
Hi, and welcome back to your committee program. We are so excited to be with you on our season opener, which is now. And let's go straight away into your Global News Rodeo. A roundup of world events is curated by the show's own Forrest Lovette. Let's go. Item number 1, chaos 5 stars, Cinque Stelle in turmoil. Forrest. That's not a pun, and it's not a joke. It's not a thing. There's no thing there. Chaos, 5 stars, Cinque Stelle in turmoil, Madonna. This could be, Tropo turmoil, right? Something like that. Just a little something, right? Tropo turmoil, Cinque Stelle. Political Europe is reporting Cinque Stelle, or the five-star movement, was thrown into chaos last week after a judge invalidated the appointment of the party's leader, Giuseppe Conte. Known for their direct democracy through online voting, we've talked about this before on the show, their Rousseau program, Cinque Stelle elected ex-Prime Minister Conte to be the party leader in 2021. However, a Naples court has suspended 2 votes, one of them being Conte's appointment. The court stated that there were grave defects in the decision-making process. Tensions within the party were already high during recent presidential elections, with party members lashing out at one another. Beppe Grillo, the party founder, the comedian, the kind of Jon Stewart-ish character, is expected to fill the leadership vacuum and to try to tackle the legal hurdles. Okay, Forrest, though. Cinque Stelle is an incredibly important story, so let's stay on it, and let's try to craft something, funny, engaging. There's something in the title that makes people want to listen to the rest. That's why we do it. Item number 2, Freedom. Far-right convoy shuts down Canada. The socialist workers reporting that the Freedom Convoy in Canada, you've all seen the pictures, has now prompted the capital, Ottawa, to declare a state of emergency. Large-scale protests began in January with long lines of semi-trucks and other transport vehicles blocking roads in opposition to mandatory vaccinations for truck drivers crossing the U.S. border. Unsurprisingly, far-right nationalist groups have mobilized around the blockades, which have surrounded the Parliament building in Ottawa. The Canadian Trucker Alliance says that 85% of the truckers are already vaccinated, and it seems most of the protesters are not truckers, but far-right organizers looking to capitalize on dissent. We're already seeing, again, some messaging about how this is going to shut down a lot of actual people who are not just truckers, but who have union jobs in many other parts of the supply chain. It obviously is coming from people who have money, and I don't know, there's something about chaos that can sometimes just be appealing. And I feel like some people who are sometimes more sensible on the left kind of looked at this and thought, choke point organizing, we're messing them up. But these people are not your friends, just like Mom said. Item 3, no merci. Paris bans Freedom Convoy. Deutsche Welle is reporting that French police have declared a similar Freedom Convoy, just like in Canada, will be banned in Paris. 6 separate convoys of anti-COVID demonstrators started in the south of France on Wednesday and were planning to arrive in the French capital and then on Brussels to demand an end to restriction. Authorities in Paris said they will refuse the attempts to block roads and borders at least from February 11th to the 14th. The mayor of Brussels has also stated the convoy will be banned in the Belgian capital. Similar protests have been organized around the world, taking inspiration from the Canadian convoy. I do have to say, it feels right that we ended the last season talking so extensively about Canada, because we're beginning this one with a focus on this oft-neglected nation when it comes to politics, and not, creepy stories about really oppressing indigenous people and sweeping that under the rug under the guise of fossil fuel profiting. Item 4, Libya limbo, country names new PM. African News is reporting the Parliament of Libya has voted to replace its current prime minister with a new one, the Speaker of the House, Fathi Bashagha. Adding to growing tensions, the country now has 2 PMs with the existing unity government, Chief Abdul Hamid al-Dabaa, also holding the PM title. Both men have support from rival armed factions based in the Libyan capital of Tripoli. Just last week, Dubai's car was struck with gunfire in an assassination attempt. Bashagda's government is tasked with scheduling a new election this year to avoid further division and elect one undisputed PM. Officials want to avoid similar schism that occurred in 2014, which escalated into a civil war. A civil war that probably wouldn't have happened without certain influences from the West. And it's just interesting as we are sort of on the brink of maybe another war, just sort of the promises we make, why they're made, to whom they benefit, and then what happens when they are and aren't kept. It's a big mess, and it's not great. Item 5. Along another watchtower, talks fail between Ukraine and Russia. Forrest, I don't know. It's sort of like... It's I guess it's the Bob Dylan song. Is that what we're doing? All right, you know what? You don't have to redo that one. We'll be fine. Item 5. Along another watchtower, talks fail between Ukraine and Russia. The Guardian's reporting that no agreements were made on a day of talks in Berlin between Ukraine and Russian representatives. I want to add, I didn't know they were happening in Berlin. No one told me. I was here. The diplomatic discussions facilitated by French and German officials were the latest attempt to erase Russian and Ukrainian friction as troops assemble along the borders and missile tests are planned in the Black Sea. President Biden told NBC News American citizens should leave Ukraine now. We're dealing with one of the largest armies in the world. This is a very different situation and things could go crazy quickly. That does not sound hysterical at all. The British Defense Secretary Ben Wallace and Foreign Secretary Liz Truss will now travel to Moscow. British PM Boris Johnson said, "This is probably the most dangerous moment, I would say, in the course of the next few days in what is the biggest security crisis that Europe has faced for decades. We've got to get it right." I mean, it's hard to argue with that. Of course, we've got to get it right. But even, talking about Libya in our last one, what does getting it right mean? What does ratcheting up the crisis with this kind of talk mean? What does it mean for people on the ground who actually will get caught up in a war? Because war is not only a horrible thing, but it's the most horrible to those who sort of need it the least, right? The poor, working families, people who are marginalized. These people are not the people who are helped or aided by a war in any way. And so anything anyone does that is not to de-escalate the situation on either side should be viewed as an enemy of ordinary people.